UnrealTek.net here. In the 6th video on making a Battlefield-style game clone in Unreal Engine 4 using networking, replication, and blueprints, I thought it'd be fun to add a kill list, aka a Killboard, where it lists who's killed who, and then it could fade away or whatever that you see in a lot of these multiplayer games. And that way we can easily tie in player class logos, like we could have, player 1 with a little assault symbol, killed, player 2 with a little like medic symbol beside them, as well as team colors. We could have them red and blue and whatever we work into later to show some of the uses of teams. So open up the project and let's get started. Let's start with the BP HUD class, and if we go up to bind event receive the chat message, we can do something similar to that for a Killboard. So what I want to do is I'm gonna drag our player state checking delay over to give us some room. Let's create an event dispatcher called show a kill. It will need to put as much info in it as we want, obviously. Let's start with the text. We'll obviously want the killer. We'll obviously want the victim. So who killed who? We'll want, let's see, linear color probably. We'll probably want team color killer. Probably duplicate that as team color victim. Alright, so we'll do the same thing as this right here. We'll go from the player state. We'll drag a reference to it, and we will bind event to show kill, except we need to go to our player state and add that first. So let's go to our BP player state, and we'll add an event dispatcher called, we don't want to say show because that's for the HUD. We want like got a kill or received a kill notify. Yeah, let's go receive the kill notify like that. Try to keep it shorter. And in the player state, let's add the exact same ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, linear color, text, I want killer, victim, killer team color, and victim team color. Alright, I'll compile and save that. Save everything. And just like how we receive a chat message from a player and then we call it the event dispatcher, we're going to want to do the same thing for a kill list. So let's create a custom event. Oops, not a player controller. Let's create a custom event called receive kill notify, like so. And it is gonna be multicast and reliable so that everyone sees it. So all we're gonna do is just call received kill notify, and let's create some inputs on here to fit it. Whoops. So we'll want killer, victim, linear color, we'll want killer team color, and victim team color. Now let's connect them up so we can call this from anywhere to call this event dispatcher in our player state. So let's comment to handles receiving a kill notification from, we'll just say that's what it does. So we'll compile and save. We'll go back to our HUD, and now we can drag off of here. I'm gonna make I got a reroute up there already. I got a lot of reroutes going on. Let's see here. I'll reroute it down here, I guess. And So we want to bind event to received a kill notify. And that event that we want to bind to it is event. We want to create a custom event called received. And we received a chat message in the other one, so let's just say received kill. We should call it a kill message. I might call it a kill notify. It's kind of getting crowded with all these lines in here, but oh well. Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll call show a kill, which we will work into a widget. Killer to killer, victim to victim, killer team color to team color killer, victim team color to team color victim. Alright, next up. So in keeping with the, well, let's compile and save this first. Sequence has no valid output. Oh yeah, that's fine. So in keeping with our modularity, let's go to our UI. So we have our chat box that we basically just tack onto the main HUD right down there. Let's do the same thing with the, you can see it's a user created widget. Let's do the same thing with the Killboard. So let's create a new folder called Killboard. Kill list, whatever you want to call it. Killboard is fine. Let's set this to green for now, and let's create a new user interface widget blueprint and call it w_killboard. Let's open it up. Let's set our size to it that we want. For testing, probably 768 by about 256. We'll stick with kind of the chat size. And let's get rid of the canvas panel and let's replace it instead with a vertical box. Vertical box. Where are there we are, vertical box. And we're gonna call this vertical box kill list. And ensure that it's a variable. And again, keeping in modularity, we could just fill this with text, but let's go back and let's, just like in the server list in the multiplayer Steam tutorial, how we added a player to the list, we added a server to the list, and they're all separate. And in my inventory tutorials, which I'll be working into this eventually, how I add items into a container. Let's do the same way here. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So user interface widget blueprint widget underscore killboard row. And in that one, let's set up the same thing. Get rid of this canvas panel and let's set our size, customize, same size, 768, but our rows. So if our height is 256, let's say we wanted 8 rows, so we probably want a height of 32 pixels each. So let's do that, and to ensure that that stays that size, let's add a size box first of all, and let's set that. So width and height override 768, whoops, not 769, 768 by 32 pixels. And on top of that, we will add a horizontal box. We're going to work horizontally to create our list. And in preparation for the little for the class logo, let's first add an image, and let's call this killer class. And for now, we'll just set its brush to the UE4 logo. UE4 logo card, that's it. Whoa, that's stretched out. We want to set that to 32 by 32. Alright, that'll work. So yeah, we'll just leave that like that for now, and then let's add some text to the horizontal box, and let's call this text block, let's call it text killer. Let's call, just put like player 1, and then we will want another text in there, and text killer we probably want to set to a variable. And the second text block, let's go space killed space. Actually, let's put a 4 spaces, so 1 2 3 1 2 3, like a tab basically on each. So player 1 killed. Oh, we got lots of room to work with. Now let's put our image in again, paste it in, and let's call this victim class, and we'll set it to a variable. Actually, yeah, we'll set it to a variable even though we're not using it yet. And then let's copy text killer, paste it in, and this will be text victim. Make sure it's a variable, and this will be player 2 as an example. Player 2. So it'll be something like that, only the colors will be bound to their team colors. So that should work, and that gives us lots of room to expand, and we could add in more info later. So let's go into the graph first of all, and let's add some information. We need, just like we set up the event dispatchers, we need, what did we call it? Killer, victim, team killer, color, victim, yeah, okay. So we need killer, which is going to be text. It's going to be editable. We're going to want to expose it on spawn so that when we create this widget, we can just plug that information right in. And that is fine with its default value of blank. Let's add another variable, victim, which will be set up the exact same way. We'll just plug the info right in. And let's do it the exact same way. And we'll go killer team color. And let's do it the same way. And linear color. Oh, come on, linear color, there we go. Let's just duplicate that, and let's call this victim team color. Perfect. I'll probably want to give those some defaults just in case, so we don't want translucent, obviously. So let's make the killer default the Unreal pink, the red with half blue. God, I hate how that does that. It's like a bug, I think. And the victim, let's make the stock Unreal gross teal. Why not? But with full alpha. And it went black on me. Alright, cool. So, yeah, I can work with that. So let's, we'll want them to fade away eventually too. So let's go event construct. Let's set up a fade system for each row. Instead of setting it up in the Killboard and trying to get all the children and doing loops, we can just do it in each of the widgets that gets created as a child in a container, in a panel, as a panel container. Let's create a new variable called time on screen and make it a float. And so this will be how long it has been on the screen. And the default value is fine. Let's put it in the category info. And so let's set that, and we'll just use that by getting game time in seconds. Just work like a clock, basically. Get game time in seconds. Perfect. And then we can do a neat little trick. Let's create a variable called fade time, just like we did with the chat. We'll make it a float as well, and let's compile, and let's set its default value to the same as the chat, 20, although I did find that a little long. And then what we can do is we can create a custom event. Oops, I keep hitting the player controller one. Custom event called fade done, or fade timed out. And what we'll do is we'll just remove it from parent. Whoops, remove from parent, not remove it from parent. And what we'll do is we will bind that to a set timer by event. And instead of looping event over and over on a certain time, we're basically doing it in reverse. We're saying that on event construct, set the time on screen to the game time in seconds, and then once we hit fade time, so 20 seconds I guess, call this event and remove from parent. Easy. So it's a delegated event. You could also set timer by function name. You could do the same way, and you could just put it in there. Either way works, but I find that a little bit cleaner. So let's hop back to our main Killboard. Let's save everything while we're at it, and let's we know that we need well, let's start with a function. Start with a function called add child kill notification. And we are gonna need the same inputs. We'll just start text, linear color. Why does it keep doing that? Linear color. So we'll want killer team color, victim team color, killer victim. So what we want to do on that is when we call this function, we want to create a widget. That one we just created. Pretty simple setup, like you would for, like I said, any inventory. So that what we did, a server list, a chat box. So we will add the what do we call it, the Killboard row, and now we can just plug in the information basically. So the killer is the killer, the victim is the victim, the killer team colors, killer team color, victim team colors, victim's team color. Owning player, since we're networking, we want to get owning player. Put that sucker up there, nice and clean. And then what we can do is we can take the return value and we can add child to, won't pop up, but add child to vertical box. And the target is going to be our vertical kill box list. So, get player controller, let's just say get player who owns this HUD. Then we create a row child and add it to the vertical box container. And we need to make it so that we only see a certain amount, like basically when you get 8 kills, since that's our number that we figured, the size divided by 32, then we'll want to remove the oldest one and add a new one. So what we want to do is we want to go into a branch and we want to check for that precondition. So we can say, we can take the vertical box kill list, reroute, and we can get children count, and we can say if it is greater than, what do we say, 8, float, integer greater than integer, then actually, again, sticking with the kind of rules we set out where we don't want to be setting things, we want to have them modifiable. Let's promote that to a variable called kill kill list rows. Yeah, kill list rows. And let's make that editable so that someone could change it if they wanted. Let's put it in the config category. And we are going to want to compile and give it a value of 8. Because we went 256 divided by 32, yeah, 8. Perfect. So, if we have more children than whatever's set in the number here, let's make this look a little nicer. So that'll be this. If kill list rows exceeds config limit, let's make that look nice. Then what we want to do is a simple for loop, not a for each. Oops. For loop. I can't type today. For loop. First index is going to be 0, and the last index is going to be the children count. No, it won't be, because that would be 8. And we want the children count. Let's see. Let me do them. Minus the rows. So integer minus integer. So children count minus the rows that we've set. Let's plug it in from there to keep things clean. Let's see, minus, so if we have 8 minus 8, that would give us 0 as the last index, and so we would remove nothing. But if we had 9 minus 8, that would give us 1. So that would let us remove 1, I believe, right? And if we had 10 minus 8, that would mean, well, we'd only ever have 1. We only want to remove 1. I think that should work. And then we want to remove child at. And the target is our vertical kill box list. Actually, we could just reroute it back from over there. At index 0, so the very first one. Then remove index 0 row, oldest one. Alright, cool. Make that look nice. You know what it's all about. Gotta make our blueprints look good. Alright, cool. I like that. So we can now call that anytime we want to add a list to the Killboard. So let's go to our UI, our widget main HUD, and let's put it in there. So we want our, where is it? Widget Killboard. Let's throw it in here. And we need to size it. So, where should I put it? Up in the corner, maybe? Let's do that. Let's anchor it to that corner. Let's go 300, just to make this setup easy. Negative 300. And then we want 0. So then we want to set the size 768. Oh no. And then negative 768, size Y 256, perfect. Kill list rows 8, perfect. And then we need to obviously set up the ability in here to add, just like the chat, to add a child. So all we need to do for that is just make a custom event. I'll hit the right one this time. Let's call this add kill notification, because we're not notifying, we're adding a kill notification, and it is going to need a bunch of inputs as well, same as before. One text, one more text, one linear color. See, it keeps doing that. Linear color. And next. So we're gonna have the killer, you know the drill, victim, killer, team color. I'm gonna copy that. Shoot. And what we'll want to do on that is we'll want to bring in our Killboard, just like we did the chat box, and we'll get a reference to it, and we'll add kill notification child, and we just plug it in again, keeping everything modular. So call handles calling add child kill notification on main pipe. Compile and save that. So now all we need to do is we need a way to basically send information to the player state saying that a kill was received. So we can do that by going into our game mode under blueprints, game modes, and BP game mode, and let's create a function called send out kill notification, and we're gonna want inputs. We're gonna want killer, which will be a player state, so BP player state reference, and we're gonna want the victim, which will be the same thing. So first thing we're gonna want to do, obviously, is we're gonna want to get their names. So let's create some rewrotes. Probably gonna need them. Something like that should work for now. So let's get player name. That's a default value, and you can see it's replicated. Let's do that for both the killer and the victim. Go below, keep it nice and clean. Actually, so our rewrote's clean. Let's bring it up and over and down and over. All right. So we'll get that info. Let's create some local variables to set that to. So let's go killer name from player name and victim name from player name, and let's set those to a what are we using, name or text? Text. Set those to text. Ooh, I'm gonna use a little trick I keep forgetting about. Text and text. Perfect. We're also gonna want to be able to get our colors, so we're gonna want killer team color and victim team color, and these are gonna be linear colors. Linear color. Alrighty. So we're gonna want to do some checks. Let's do an is valid check on the killer. If the killer is not valid, then we don't need to do anything. And let's do the same thing for the victim. If it is valid, we can go into here, but if it's not, we won't do anything. Victim. Actually, let's not mess this up. Let's keep this nice and clean. And actually, we might need some more room. If it is valid, let's drag this over. If it is valid, then we will set killer's name to the player name associated with it, associated with that player state. And let's bring that over just so that it can be as close as possible. And then we can bring this back over. And if the victim is valid, then we can set the victim's name to the player name associated with that player state. Same deal. And we also need to set the colors. So let's just set them up. So killer team color set and victim team color set. Connect the dots. I've been saying that a lot more often now that I've been doing Java programming. We want to get game state. I have an event for, or I have a key for this. Let me get it. Game state. Awesome. We want to get our game state because remember, if we cast to our game state and convert to a pure cast, we can drag off of it and we can get our teams data. Get teams data. You can see we've set it to replicate. Let's center this. And off of that array, we want to do a array get. Actually, I'm going to just do that twice. Obviously, though they still didn't fix those pins. Obviously, this is the array. Let's see if we can set this up cleanly, but so that it'll still work nicely for our setup. Get, and the target is going to be team color. So you can see pieces starting to fit together. Once we get team colors going, things will really start popping into place. So we'll make this one the killer, and we'll make this one the victim. Why not? Let's see if we can get that looking a little better. Probably not. No. That'll work, I guess. Why not? Fortran has some nice ways to arrange those. Can't wait for that to come out. Just do that. I don't like things crossing my nodes though either. Alright, we'll leave it like that, whatever. So we'll set that, and the way we will get that information is we will reroute our, well, I guess we can just reroute the victim from here. Whoa, I didn't want to do that. Totally had the wrong key. Reroute, and let's get the killer. Let's bring him over here, reroute, and drag one down here. So what we want to do is we want to get, because it's our BP player state, remember we added team number. Get team number of both of them, and remember we set them to replicate. Alright, we might have to do some major reorganization here. But basically the killer team member or team number goes into the index of the team's data that we want to get, as does that. So we'll get the index of the team data. So if it's 0, then we'll get their team color, and so on and so forth. You know, red is red, blue is blue. So that should work out. And then what we need to do is, should make a sequence. Let's do a sequence in here. But it goes over my lines. That's fine, I guess. We can just reroute that. Looks better anyways. Actually, we could probably reroute these too, couldn't we? No, it doesn't work out that way. so well. That looks good though. Alright, so first we do all that, we get all the information, we set it to local variables. Actually, let's comment that. Get killer/victim player names and team colors from player state only if valid. And then let's do a sequence rewrote. Whoa, it went in a weird direction. And then we want to do, let's get the game state again and cast to it and promote to appear cast. And we want to get the player array, a default value that holds all the players. And we want to do a for each loop of that player array. And in that array element, we want to cast to our only player state. So the player array is an array of player states. We cast to the player state. As the player state, we kill notification. We receive kill notification. So the player state receives a kill notification. So basically it's saying, okay, we're receiving a notification that somebody was killed, and it goes through the processes. Let's send it to the HUD, which sends it to the widget, and blah, 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 so on and so forth. And then we just gotta plug our information in. So killer name, victim name, killer team color, and victim team color. Perfect. I like it. I like it. So we just get player state, or rather iterate through player states notifying of kill and send all related info. And so this can be modified later. We can add more information, and this makes it very modular. So this handles getting all info and sending it out to every class listening for the info. So we send out kill notification, BP player state, killer, and victim. And we're gonna want a way to score, like keep a score of kills, not only for the kill list, but for a scoreboard. So let's create a new function called add kill. And let's give it a description, because we're not gonna finish it completely with the scoreboard. We're just doing the kill list. This function takes in the controllers responsible for kills and checks for things like, say, friendly fire and player states, and broadcasts kill messages to classes listening, yeah, so on and so forth. Oh, and also adds info to a future scoreboard. So what we're gonna need is very simple. We're just gonna want a killer and a victim. However, the killer will be a controller reference, since the victim will be a player that's died, but the killer will still be alive as a player controller. So all we need to do is we need to get the player state for both of them. So get player state, and let's get it for both of them. Similar to similar to the other setup that we just made. Controller is not valid. Oh, I see why. Because duplicating the node. Get player state. No. Actions taking a BP player state. Did I set that to player state? BP player. BP base character is what I meant. It's bugging me out. Get player state. And then we want to call send out kill notification. Target is self, and the killer is this player state. Player state ref. Oh, right, we need to cast first. So cast, convert to peer. Cast, convert to peer. And victim and killer. So that'll be it for now. So get player state of killer controller and victim base care. Player states and send out a kill notification. Oh, I get player states. Yeah, whatever, I'll just leave it. So let's compile and save that. And while we're at it in the game mode, we should go to functions and override some, because we've set up different setups. So we want find player start. You can see it's a default function that returns the best player start for this player to start from. And if we override it, you'll see it's looking for an actor as a player start, usually a player start, but we're not using a player start. And the controller for whom we're choosing a player start. And this is when it's networked, and the netcode will be looking for this. So all we want to do is just use our find spawn point function instead. So player goes into the respawning controller in, and the spawn point out is what it's going to use. And let's do the same thing. Let's override choose player start. This works in a very similar way. Otherwise, we're going to get bugs. So we might as well override these while we're here. Find spawn point. There we are. I didn't know you could, I guess you could categorize overridden functions. I'm going to call this, though, overridden nested to, let's just say player, or let's just say spawn. Yeah, overridden spawn. I like it. Instead of game. Wait, that's not what I wanted. Find spawn point. Oh, did I have that selected? That should just be spawn. This, you can't set the ones. They're just in game by default, so not a lot we can really do there. I guess it has a little arrow to show you that it's overridden. Anyways, compile, save. So we're almost there. So all we got to do now is basically call add kill. So let's go to our blueprints. Let's go to our BP base character. And you guessed where we're going to call this car death. So before we destroy the actor, as we much learnt, what we'll want to do is simply get game mode. I think I have a key for this. Let's see. Yeah, right there. Get game mode. We'll want to cast to BP game mode, convert to peer cast, and we'll want to add kill. But first, I'm going to connect that up like that. First of all, we want to do a switch off. We only want that stuff happening on the server. Well, the add kill anyway. All the other stuff happens locally, the HUD stuff. And so we just need to set this up now. So the victim, obviously, BP base character reference would be self. And the killer, the controller reference, that's going to get a little bit more complex, but we could go to deal taken damage, because we dealt with that, right? It deals the damage. Are we already dead? Because we have our instigated in here, so we can say deal taken damage, and we stock input, get rid of that, and we call that, where do we call that? Deal taken damage. On event, take any damage right now. So we also have instigated by there. So what we could do is we could do a check before we do these two. We could you could say event any damage. Let's go branch. The condition is if damage, let's get health. If health minus, I have a button for that. Not that one though. Minus, let's multiply minus. So if health minus damage is less than or equal to 0.0 into our branch. I need to really clean this up. So if that happens, then before we deal the actual damage and kill the player, first thing we need to do is set a variable. Let's just call this, it'll be temporary, so let's just call it instigated killer temp. And this is going to be a controller reference. Let's give ourselves a little note, temporary way to get a killer controller reference for the kill list. And we want to set that, if true, set it to instigated by. I really gotta start cleaning this up soon. And then deal the taken damage. If false, just deal the taken damage and skip that. That should work, and then we can go back to where we were working, where we needed the killer, and we can just plug that in there. And we can make a comment, this is temporary, until we get a little bit more advanced gameplay stuff. We'll say that's temporary too. So let's compile and save everything. Let's see where we're at right now. Save everything. File, save all. So let's play with one player. Let's make sure everything's working. Yep, looks good. I'm spawning. Blah blah blah. I can shoot. Oh, I got volume going. So let's play with two players. So let's try the client first. So I'm gonna kill the server. 5 has been killed. Although we don't have our HUD set. That is a problem. We have our chat box, BP HUD. Create widget main HUD. Set. Add the viewport. Yes. Where is our main HUD? we have our Killboard up there. File, save, alright, play. Let's see if the server works. Base character 16. I'm not seeing any HUD information. So, let's check the errors first. No, that's not it. Let's check our widget first. Event construct. Let's do a print string saying child added to Killboard. Compile, save. Let's go to our Killboard, add child, kill notification. Before we do the Killboard notification, let's do a print string that says, whoops, adding Killboard notification. Sorry, adding Killboard child widget. Let's make sure it's actually getting there first. So save, compile and save those, play. I'll try from the client first. I like to start from the server because usually the server works before a client does when you're prototyping. So I didn't get any messages, or I didn't see any. It was too short, so that's why I want to use the server. Oh, it was too fast to see. Still too fast to see anything because all those other messages are in the way. 5. All right. I couldn't see fast. I couldn't see. Been killed. Let's make those in red to help debug. Text color red and text color not blue, red. Let's go purple. Purple or red is good. Let's see if we see that. So play. I didn't see any purple or red. I didn't see any purple or red. So, we're not actually sending any information out. So let's see where it's getting stuck. So let's start with our base character. On character death. So, are we already dead? False. We set to dead. Do a delay. Has been killed. Switch has authority. Add kill. Maybe let's do a delay. So the whole point of that delay was because the actor was getting destroyed too fast. So let's just try that out first. Simple things are always the best. If that's the problem again, then happy day. I didn't see any debug messages, nor do I see any children getting added. No. All right. So let's test this, however, by putting a print string in here. Print string, I have a key for that. Just say adding kill. Compile, save. Let's make sure that much is working. So it shouldn't work from the client, however, because we're only calling that on authority. I'm not going to see it. Oh no, server adding kill. Okay, so that's working. So we're good there. Debugging is always great, so that's good. So it's going through there just fine. Let's make sure it's actually sending this information. So let's print string. Let's make it red so we can see it, orange or whatever. And let's do an append. Let's just append all this information. Game mode reference, that's the target, I don't need that. But self, killed by instigated killer temp, display name. Alright, space debug, see if that is getting through. So client side, yep, that's getting through, so that's good. I think it all looked good, so I'm gonna say that that's working. So let's just go down the string. So we add the kill, which gets the player state of the killer and the victim, and cast to the player state, and sends out a kill notification. Let's make sure that's working. So let's add in a print string, not a spawn actor, a print string in which we say in red, oh, not duration, duration add, adding kill from game mode. Let's make sure that's working. Debugging is always the funnest part. Adding kill, okay, so that seems to be working. Let's do a quick append, and let's just make sure it's getting both of these player state informations fine. Compile, save, put up to 5 seconds. Compile, save, play. BP player state 41. Okay, it's getting something at least. I don't know who or which it was or not getting, but something was working. So that seems fine. It should be sending something through there, even if it's access none on one. Something's going to send out kill notification. So let's make sure our is not valids are not getting called. So if they are, let's print string. Let's do this in red. So if this gets showing, then we got something big going on. So let's check that out. Okay, so something is not valid. What is not valid? Only one of them is not valid, so let's find out which one. So that was fine. So it's not the killer, rather it's the victim for some reason. The killer plugs into there, the victim comes from victim, yep. So, I guess it would be this one. Let's just double check. You set this to do damage for faster or more damage for faster debugging. So yeah, for some reason the victim is not valid. It's not passing through valid information, and because it's not valid, it's not continuing to set all the information. Let's do this. Let's add a pin. Let's put this down here. And let's put these onto their own. And then let's set their, so the killer, let's disconnect that. Let's connect him up to his end there. Let's just make it clear for now. Bring it way back there. That's not clear. That is okay. Set victim name and then set victim team color down like that. Alright, let's check that out. Print string, player state from node in event graph. Access none. Print string has been killed. Player state, access none. Interesting. What am I missing? I'm gonna debug and not waste any more time with you guys, and I'll let you know the solution. Okay, so a lot of debugging was caused, as always, by a simple mistake. In our widget main HUD, we had our add kill notification, which takes the Killboard and adds a child kill notification, but nothing was calling it, because what we did is we forgot to bind that event to show a kill from our HUD. So we were never getting any information to call that. So all you gotta do is go into widget main HUD, reroute off of our HUD, bind event to show a kill, and that event drag off and type in create event, and then just choose add kill notification killer victim ... So if we compile and save and play, I have to rewire a few things now, but you'll see that we get player 1 killed player 2. So it's not getting names or anything at the moment, but regardless, it's a Killboard and team colors for that matter. So still a little bit of debugging and such and more work to go on, but player 1 killed player 2, so that's bad too that they're both saying the same thing. So we obviously need that information to get through there. If we go to Killboard row, the reason for that is player 2 is not bound to anything, nor is player 1. So let's bind player 2 to victim and bind player 1 to killer. And let's delete this print string. We know it works, so now we can set the time on screen and set timer by event stuff. So let's compile and save and play. Let's see how that looks now. So 294 killed blank. So obviously we still have that is not valid, so it's still not getting I guess that'd be the client killing the server. So it's still not getting some information, so we'll have to look into that. 293 killed, yeah, so it's not getting the victim for some reason. We'll have to look into that. But either way, that is working somewhat. Let's see if we got an error somewhere. Nope. So we just need to find out why victim, text victim, which is created on the Killboard, is not getting sent through. We can get rid of this debug. Alright, so I found the error. I guess remember we created the simple debug notify that somebody had been killed. we can keep the player name stuff. We can get rid of the has been killed print string and that delay. Latin functions do not work with switch has authorities. I totally forgot. They bug them out completely. So, and I changed instigated killer temp to instigated damage temp. I was just testing something out. So all I did was got rid of that and just connected the switch has authority straight up to the add kill. And where do we set that? Yeah, I just did it over here. I realized that we can just do it on any damage. We can just keep continually setting that variable. I'm sure it worked the same way before. I didn't test that out, but yeah, just either way, on any damage we set instigated damage temporary controller to whoever instigated the damage, and then deal the damage, because it won't matter because we're not checking for death right there. So once you play, so I'm 320, the server's 319. So I was just 320, I just killed 319. And if we go and so now I'm 319 attacking 320. 319 killed 320. There we have it. So that is finally that. In the next video, I think we should get some team stuff set up so that can start looking pretty cool, and classes as well. But like I said, we don't want to work on too much at once. We got that working, so that's pretty cool. So we got a kill, we got a kill feed, we got a player list, we got a chat. It's all working, and also the kills they do fade out, so that's cool. I haven't tested going over whatever 8 yet. I don't know if I even could click that fast. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff working. That, the health, the damage. I want to get the third person character mesh in there going too. That would be pretty awesome. Rather than just having these guns sitting in the air, I don't think I can get to 8. To be honest, that's a lot of clicking. I gotta set them to do more damage. But as you can see, they are fading out after 20 seconds or whatever it is. Yeah, I can only get 5 maybe. But yeah, that's cool. So I'm happy with that. The simplest things sometimes. So yeah, we'll leave that there for now. And next time we'll do some more team stuff or whatever. If you guys have a request, let me know. So thanks for watching from everyone here at UnrealTek.net, a division of BlenderTek.com. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe, and we take donations. We're on social media on the links on your screen. If you disliked this video, tell us why so we can improve them. And so we'll see you next time. And remember, create your way.